Good morning, everybody. For new people, I'm Tony Variant. I am the president of the HLAA Mission Viejo Chapter, and we're also known as the Hearing Well Club here in Laguna Woods Village. So welcome to everybody. I'm a person with a hearing loss. I have a cochlear implant, and I have a hearing aid. So I'm just like everybody else here, except for maybe our presenter and her partner. So welcome. Just so you know, this meeting is being recorded. Okay. This meeting is being recorded. And it will be posted on the chapter's YouTube channel, and I will send the notice out to everybody when that happens. Sometimes it takes up to a week for me to get it processed right. I will try to send out a temporary that comes right from Zoom that might be good for a few days. And if I do that, I'll send that notice to everybody who was in the meeting or registered. Okay. Okay, we have technical support available on the fly. If you can use the chat function. Alan Katsura is in the room. He's from Diablo Valley chapter in Northern California, and he joins me, and we are so grateful for his help. So let me just show you a little bit. So there's a chat window. So go to your toolbar at the bottom and click on chat, change everybody to Alan's name and send him a message and say, I'm having a problem with this, I'm having a problem with that. How do you do this? How do you do that? And he'll send you a private message back. If you want to send a message to everybody in the room, just leave it as everybody. So this is a disclaimer. HLAA Mission Viejo does not endorse any single product or service. This meeting is intended to provide information, education, and support. Having said that, we do have a sponsor, but it's not an endorsement. This is a sponsor, so this is a commercial. And Caption Call, which has just recently been bought out by Sorensen. Sorensen is a company. Caption Call's been connected to Sorensen from the very beginning, but now they're taking the time to change the name. So I don't know why. Caption Call provides captioning for your landline phone, for your iPhone or Android phone, and for your iPad. So if you don't have a landline phone and you've got an iPad, you've got a phone that captions. And so we want to thank Caption Call. They actually pay our captioner, who is captioning for you right now, live from Chicago. And so you want to get Caption Call if you benefit from captions. And by the way, just as an aside, Caption Call is going to be our next presenter in April. And they're introducing a brand new product for your phone, captioning for your phone, both sides, both you and the person you're talking to. And you'll be able to save it and have the whole conversation. So he's going to demonstrate that, and I think you'll enjoy that. Okay, and this is our captioner, Jo Gale. You can't see her right now, but I want you to see her picture. And no, she's not in San Francisco. And no, that is the Golden Gate Bridge, but she's not there. So thank you, Jo. The Mission Viejo chapter is a 501c3 nonprofit chapter, and we we run on your support, and any donations you make may be available as a tax write-off depending on your situation. The chapter is an all-volunteer. No one receives any compensation of any kind, and we hope you will donate. The website, www.HLAAMV.org. My name, the name of the chapter, and my email address if you want to jot it down, if you want to email me with any questions. Oops, what happened? There we go. And here's a phone number you can call, but don't call me right now because I'm in this meeting. And you can text me at this number as well. We're on Twitter and we're on Facebook. So check us out. If you're on Facebook or Twitter, check us out. All right. So thank you for letting us. We've changed our introductory period. I think we're down to 4 minutes or 5 minutes. We used to take 15 minutes to say hello. I now would like to introduce you. We're going to say Dr. Jodi, but I'm going to ask her if she would please pronounce the name for us, just so that we could try to see if we could repeat it, hear it correctly and repeat it. Okay, so Jodi, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, what you do for Widex, and then what we're going to talk about today.
Yes. So hi, everybody. Just doing an audio check right now. I'm Dr. Jodi. I am an audiologist, like my colleague that I've known for a long time, Miss Ann Mundell Noel, down at Amazing Hearing down in your local area. My last name is a mouthful, and it's Sasaki-Miraglia. So Japanese and Italian. So obviously, I probably don't look Italian. That's my married name. And my maiden name is Sasaki, Sasaki. So I am originally from Hawaii. I'm Japanese American. I come from a long line of family members who have had hearing loss for a number of different reasons. My grandfather was a retired high school band teacher and taught in the high schools in band for over 20 years and got hearing loss because of it. So my grandfather was really the first, I think, reason for me to enter hearing health. And I do believe as an audiologist that audiology or hearing picked me. I didn't pick it. And I've been an audiologist for almost 20 years now. So I'm very happy to speak to your group. And Tony, I don't know if you want to formally start or if your group had any questions before we get started.
I think what I'd like to suggest is that if people have questions, they can put it in the chat box. And let's get through the program. And but if you have a question, use the raise hand feature, but we'll call on you when Jodi has completed her presentation, and we're going to call on it in order of hands raised. So whoever raises their hand first, they'll be the first one to ask their question. If your question has been answered and you don't need to ask it, you can use the reactions to lower your hand. So you can do that. So, okay. So Jodi, you just go right into it. And I believe you have the share screen. Yes, you can share your screen.
That sounds good. Okay. Can everybody see this beautiful lady meditating on the screen? I see Scott saying yes, so perfect. So part of what I was asked to share with you today is some updates in hearing healthcare, and specifically new assistive listening devices, and also things that can help with tinnitus, stress, and really help improve your quality of life. Again, my name is Dr. Jodi. I'm also work for Widex, which is a hearing device manufacturer. I am based here in Southern California. And I also wanted to introduce my colleague here, Scott Daly. Scott is our local Widex sales representative that goes to different audiology and hearing healthcare practices across Southern California to help support Widex fittings and Widex training. So Scott, did you want to say a few words before we get going?
Only that it's great to be here with everyone. I am born at Mission Viejo Hospital many, many years ago. I grew up on Lake Mission Viejo, so you are my people. I love Mission Viejo. That's been home for my entire life, essentially, with a few stops here and there, but great to be here with everyone today and look forward to chatting.
Awesome. Thank you, Scott. So again, today we will be talking about tinnitus. We'll also be talking about stress and how stress is associated with communication breakdown. It can also be associated with just living with hearing loss or living with loved ones who have hearing loss. And then additional technologies that you are hopefully going to learn about for support in hearing and noise, even with a good cochlear implant, right, Tony? Or even with a good hearing aid, hearing and noise or hearing in complex listening situations continues to be difficult, I think, for everybody. And when we look at where we are sitting today in 2023, here in Southern California, where it's raining again for I don't know how many days now. We're thankful for the moisture, but maybe not all at one time. And so if you are like me, I really took for granted a sunny day and how happy sunny days made me. And so when we look at hearing care and health care and overall well-being, there are definitely some solutions and new options that are available within the hearing healthcare space to really support overall well-being as it relates to those of us who have hearing challenges or lived with loved ones or interact with loved ones who have hearing challenges. So we're going to talk a little bit about this concept of engagement and well-being. All of you are here today engaging with each other, and that's great that we have Alan here from the Northern California chapter. And as human beings, I think all of us want to feel engaged and belong and feel heard, and also be able to feel like we have opportunities to continue to improve ourselves. So I'm going to talk a little bit about well-being options within the space of hearing healthcare, and also what things we can do together to further elevate our engagement with each other out in the community and out with others who have hearing loss or hearing challenges. So when we look at overall well-being, that can sort of assume or involve a lot of different aspects in order for us to quote unquote feel good that day or feel positive that week. And we know that there might be, physical ailments or physical feelings of feeling good, feeling healthy that can contribute to well-being, our social network, psychologically, how we're doing with our mental health, maybe the economic status of you or your local community or your state. That all sort of intertwines when we talk about, well-being of the human species. And at least with Widex, when we look at well-being, we look at what technologies can help support well-being, better living. How do we help with social engagement with the different technologies that we have to offer today? So I'll be focusing here specifically on well-being, engagement technologies that you can be educated about, and ask your local hearing care professional for more information. So specifically today, I want to talk a little bit about a new technology called the Widex Sound Relax. It is a suite or a host of sound therapies to support tinnitus. If you have any tinnitus, ringing, buzzing in your ears or your head, it can also support reduction of stress, or those who are looking for improvements in concentration. So maybe you feel some days that your focus is a little off, or maybe you feel some days that you're a lot more stressed out than others. There is sound therapy technology that can really help support a lot of those needs. And then second, I wanted to share with you a new assistive listening device called the Widex Sound Assist. It is a tiny little technology gem that provides a lot of opportunity to help remove the communication barriers that you may have when you go to the grocery store or meet in person with new friends or family, or maybe you're volunteering somewhere and are having a hard time with hearing other people at a distance, or in a lot of background noise. So let's focus a little bit today on specifically the tinnitus side of things, the stress impact on hearing loss. And I want to sort of bring back, at least for us as audiologists and hearing care professionals, when we see people who are challenged with hearing conditions, we are sort of sworn to an oath to know that and understand that, there isn't only one solution for people. There are many solutions, and part of what we do as hearing care professionals for you out there in the community is to make sure that we look at you as the whole person, understand that there are therapies and really non-therapeutic support that we can offer you, and that each individual hearing and communication plan is very unique to yourself. You see, and hopefully you experience this in medicine or in dentistry or in vision. And so the same thing should happen in hearing healthcare, where I think many of us know a hearing aid or a cochlear implant is not the silver bullet to solve everything. And there are always other support tools that we can educate you on to be able to continue to remove those barriers in communication breakdown. So you all, I think, know this, but fixing the hearing or addressing the hearing is the easy part. I can make my dog that I have a golden retriever. His name is Rex. He has very, very good hearing. He's a terrible listener. And that's why I feed Rex, and Rex does not feed me. And it's because as humans, we are at the top of the food chain because we can listen, we can participate, we can assign meaning to sound. So thank goodness we all have a brain. Thank goodness our ears are connected to that brain. And the reality is, when all of you come in to see any hearing care professional and talk about your hearing problem, a lot of times we have a deeper understanding knowing that it's likely a listening problem, and many people want to participate again in their lives, in their social circle. So it's not only an ear thing, it's not only providing good, clean sound from the ear to the brain, but it's also taking into account all the social things you would like to do, or you would like to try, or you would like to get back into, which a lot of times requires other support tools. So I like to kind of say this, and Scott, if you want to, pop in here, but oftentimes we all see and know that prescription hearing aids often alone is not enough to help support people's listening goals. Scott, I don't know if you have any stories to share of when you were, fitting patients as well prior to joining Widex of this topic here.
Yeah, I mean, for me as a provider, so much of the appointment was making sure the fitting was as good as it could possibly be, but it was also reminding my patient that it is, in fact, a hearing aid, and the goal of the hearing aid is to aid your hearing. And so much of success is dependent upon effective communication strategies, utilizing things like assistive listening devices that we're going to talk about later. And so, yes, it would be nice if the hearing aid made all of our problems go away, but that's not always the case, at least in my experience.
Yeah, for sure. So here is some really interesting stats, and I think probably part of one of your meetings, you probably have seen some of these statistics, but the incidence of tinnitus here in the United States is over 25 million people in the United States report having some sort of tinnitus, ringing in the ear, sounds in their head, static noises, those sorts of descriptions. In addition, we know that over 37 million Americans report having some level of hearing loss. Sometimes hearing loss is associated with tinnitus. Sometimes it's not. And I think for many, we know that if you do have tinnitus or ringing in the ear, usually the first steps forward is to get your hearing checked first to see if there is, in fact, a hearing condition that needs to be addressed. When you are in the clinic and you are addressing or getting your hearing evaluated, we also support and recommend, and many of your, hopefully your hearing care professional that you see is also addressing and testing the number one reported problem for the majority of people who have hearing loss, and that is hearing in noise. So here on the right-hand side, you see a picture of my dog. That says he hears me, but he's just not listening, right? And so when you are, getting your hearing evaluated or getting your annual hearing check, the one thing that I suggest you ask your hearing provider is, can they check your hearing and noise ability? And the tests that surround or support that is called the Quick SIN, or the Quick Speech and Noise Test. It's about a 3 to 5 minute test that your hearing care provider can provide and perform, and it's a test that looks beyond your hearing audiogram. So instead of only hearing the little beeps and bops with the headphones in a sound booth, we actually can present sentences through your ears to your brain with different amounts of background noise, and we get a number that shows how your brain and your ears react when we make it more difficult to listen, not just hear, but to listen. So it's a really, really great test to tap into looking beyond just your hearing and look at that higher challenge of listening. The other tool that many hearing healthcare providers use is the hearing inventory. So there is a questionnaire that you can fill out that really looks at how is your specific hearing affecting your daily life? How much is it limiting you or not limiting you from participating in your life? And it's a really, really nice way to quantify your individual listening needs, and then therefore helps that hearing care provider create a really focused, customized hearing plan for you. The other thing that will hopefully tease out how much do you maybe need an assistive listening device. Is there other technologies available that we can help educate you on for your workplace, your communication partners? Maybe you go to church and have difficulty hearing at your Bible study group. There is a really great tool that hearing healthcare providers can use, and it's a tool called the Telegram. It's a tool that was created by a researcher out of University of Texas, and she created a really nice framework to help guide that conversation for you as the consumer patient with your hearing care provider. It allows us to kind of focus in on where are you struggling, and then focus specifically in educating you about what other additional support tools, resources can we educate for you in order to really help be, the best that you can be with communication and social participation. And then those of you who do have tinnitus, there is a tool that we can measure the impact that the tinnitus has on you and how it affects your daily life. And be able to quantify that helps us sort of, again, really just hone in and focus on the specific hearing goals and plans that we have for you, so that it truly is a more person-centered care plan specifically for hearing and communication. So this is an example of a tool that we can use clinically as hearing care providers. The word Telegram is actually an acronym to evaluate how do you do on the phone? Are you still employed? Is there different legislation that we need to make you be aware of, like the closed captioning products that Tony, you mentioned earlier? The state of California has some really great programs there. Do you do any entertainment or want to engage in some entertainment? Or are you in groups? What kind of recreation are you involved in? What kind of alarm systems do we need to make sure you have access to? If you are maybe watching your grandson and you can't hear the baby monitor, are there other tools to help with overcoming some of that barriers? And then, who are the other members of your household? Do you live with, somebody who has normal hearing? Do you live with young children or teenagers? Do you live alone? That all sort of helps us figure out what tools do we need to educate you on in order to really help support your full lifestyle. So switching a little bit now to tinnitus, those of you, if you do have tinnitus, being able to quantify how your tinnitus is affecting you, how aware of you are you with the tinnitus? Do you feel in control when the tinnitus rears its head? How does it affect your concentration? How does it affect your sleep and your sleep hygiene? Those are all things that will vary from person to person, and something that is important for your hearing care professional to understand to decide what type of intervention and what sort of treatment can be offered and supported to you as the individual, and not generically prescribe or give, a generic solution, but something that's much more tailored to what your needs are and a plan around that. So again, focusing on some of the new technologies that Widex has to offer. We have a new technology called the Widex Sound Relax, specifically to help focus and support people who have tinnitus challenges or just find that they have a lot more stress today than they did in the past, and allows for some sound therapy options to be embedded in your devices. So, Tony, are you able to run the first poll? I'm just curious how many people actually do have tinnitus who are joining us today. So there's a box that popped up on each of your screens, and you just are going to answer the questions. 1, do you have tinnitus? Yes or no?
Is it?
Yep, I see it. Scott, do you see the poll on your side? Yep.
Yep, it's up.
I set it all up. I don't know. I've had problems with this poll before. Okay, let me end it.
No problem. Let's do this, Tony. I can maybe let's use the chat. So if you want to end the poll here, that's fine. We can kind of pivot to plan B.
Okay.
So if you all don't mind, in the chat, if you can indicate yes, you have tinnitus, or no, you don't. And we'll wait. So again, in the chat, if you have tinnitus, say yes. Or if you do not have tinnitus, say no.
When I first started my hearing loss journey, I had tinnitus. And it was very annoying. But eventually, it wasn't, even though it was annoying, I could not listen to it. I could ignore it. Excuse me. And occasionally it still pops up, but I'm 40 years later and I still have it, but mostly I don't hear it. So
yeah,
I realize that tinnitus is different for everybody. I just wanted to.
Absolutely. And it looks like at least over half of your members say that they do have tinnitus. So for those of you who said yes, would you in the chat describe how it sounds with 1 or 2 words? So does it sound like a ring? Does it sound like a buzz most times?
Places here, people can look at it. So it's ringing, buzzing, sounds like music, hissing, water rushing, or other.
So curious for those who are able to share in the chat, if you do have tinnitus, what does it sound like? We have buzzing. Somebody says it sounds like a ring. Anybody else want to share? Sounds like air. So Tony, similar to what you had explained, right? You realize that everybody's tinnitus is unique. And it can change over time as well. So look, somebody just said it sounds like a clock ticking, ringing, buzzing. And I'm sure if I asked what kind of buzzing does it sound like, we'd probably get a big range of that as well. Very, very good. So my third question is for all of you, on a scale of 1 to 10, how stressed are you during the week? So on a scale of 1 to 10, how stressed are you during the week? 1, I'm not stressed at all. 10, I'm very stressed. So on a scale of 1 to 10, share with me a number of where you are, let's say today or this week, of your stress level. We've got a 6, we've got a 1, a 5. Scott's very stressed. He's at an 8. We got 2s, 5s, 6s, 2s, 7s, 5s. Okay, so nobody said 1. Everybody is higher than a 1. And this is the reason why I ask about stress. And that is because you fall into this category. According to the American Psychological Association, 65% of adults say that they're stressed. So all of you fall in that category. So it's 2 in 3 adults. Why is this important? Ever since COVID, the world is not the same. And many of you who like me, maybe ran out and bought toilet paper. And now, even though there's a lot of toilet paper on the shelf, I still get stressed out when I only see 1 or 2 rolls in my bathroom. So the way of life that we live today in 2023 is much different than a couple years ago because of what we have all went through and witnessed. So there tends to be a lot more worry, a lot more stress, a lot more anxiety in our world today. And if you look at what stress does on your body, to your mood, to your behavior, Mayo Clinic has a very, very nice grid that shows the negative impact of stress. So on your body, it can give you a headache, can make you more tired. You can get a stomach upset or have sleep problems, for instance. For your mood, you can feel overwhelmed. You can be sad or, have some restlessness or feeling overwhelmed. And then in terms of your behavior, and I'm guilty of this when I'm stressed out, over or under eating, but I tend to do the over part, not the under part. Angry outbursts, increase in alcohol use, exercising less. So for many of us, there is this sort of silent result of having having stress. And we also know stress is also can make your tinnitus much worse. So we know that there are emotional and psychological factors that also can trigger your tinnitus to be worse. And stress and tinnitus have this sort of hand-in-hand relationship. Typically, the more stressed you are, the more robust or louder or more aggressive your tinnitus becomes. And we know that people who do have tinnitus will say, yeah, it's much worse when I'm really stressed out. Or it's much worse when, I'm going through a lot of stressful things in my life. And we know that cycle can just continue to feed itself with tinnitus, stress. My tinnitus gets more, so I'm stressed out. And it's sort of this vicious cycle. So sound therapy, or the new Widex Sound Relax, is there to help reduce your stress levels, helps to help reduce tinnitus severity, and is also there to help with increased concentration and putting you in a better mood. So if you are going to be wearing a hearing instrument anyway, asking for technologies that support sound therapy technology is a really great option to ask your hearing healthcare provider about. So what's unique about some of the Widex Sound Relax technology, it's based with a music type of foundation. The brain reacts very differently to music. It lights up a lot more of our brain when we hear music immediately. And it also, the research shows that different types of music can stimulate different parts of your brain. So if you like country music versus classical music, you see different parts of the brain lighting up, not only the hearing part of the brain, but the thinking part of the brain, the visual part of the brain, and a lot of other different areas. So we know music can immediately stimulate the brain. How do we use that pathway to help to our advantage, to help support tinnitus and address stress? So we know that music has been shown to reduce depression. We also know that music therapy has been very, very supportive in different cognitive diseases like Alzheimer's. And we also know that music has really profound effects on reducing stress levels, reducing that cortisol concentration in your body. So knowing that, Widex has grouped sound that you can utilize in your hearing aids and pairs that up with education and counseling, pairs that up with a hearing device that you would be wearing, adds in some specific music-based, what we call fractal technology. That fancy word just means that the music that we put in your hearing devices are low-level musical chimes and tones that never repeat. So your brain always has something to listen to instead of focusing on the tinnitus. That in the end helps support relaxation, reduction of stress, and increase in concentration. So the new Widex Sound Relax sounds are based on this crazy, great, interesting feature called the Widex fractal technology. The brain recognizes those sounds as music. It just automatically generates itself. So there's nothing that you as the person has to do with your instruments. You are in that special Widex Zen or Widex Sound Relax program, and it provides very calm, continuous music chime-like sounds at a very, very soft, low level to help keep your brain distracted to listen to that instead of the tinnitus. If you don't have tinnitus, it helps support increase your concentration and also help reduce stress that you might have during that time. So the goal of the sound therapy technologies that's embedded in modern hearing aids today is there to help what we call passive listening. It's, listening to something, not really paying attention to it, but it's sort of there in the background. It's there to facilitate what we call habituation. Anybody wearing glasses, or maybe you're wearing a watch today, only because now I said, are you wearing glasses or are you wearing a watch? Maybe you feel that on your body, but over time, your brain habituates to wearing clothes, glasses, a watch, and you forget that it's there. And that's the similar type of habit that we want to create for your brain and your body in terms of its reaction to either stress or tinnitus. So if you have your smartphones out, and if you know how to do a QR code, you can take your smartphone out and turn on your camera and place your camera to face this little pixel picture here, and that will take you to all of the Widex information about our sound therapy and tinnitus tools that we have available today. So again, if you're familiar with a QR code, similar to when you go to a restaurant and you have to zap that little code with your camera on your phone or iPad, that will actually open up a link if you're interested in reading more about that technology. So what do we know about the new Widex Sound Relax for tinnitus and for reduction of stress? We know that once people are listening to that sound therapy option, there's significant improvements in their tinnitus within 30 days, which is awesome. We also know that over 80% of the patients who are in our study said, yeah, my tinnitus severity went down. So if you have tinnitus, or if you have tinnitus but never have done anything about it, or if you have stress and you would like to address that part of your well-being, know that sound therapy tools that are embedded in hearing aids can now really help support that aspect of your life. We know that at least our sound therapy tools are very relaxing. Over 90% of the patients who were in our study said they really liked our new sound relaxed tones, and it helped with their relaxation, it helped with their concentration, and it helped make their mood much better. At 30 days, at 1 month, 2 months, and now we have 4-month data availability. So the bottom line is, if you have any stress and or if you have any tinnitus, and it can be both or separate, know that ear level sound therapy can really help support that part of your hearing plan and hearing journey for an overall increase in your well-being. What do they sound like? I don't know how this is going to come across on Zoom, but I'm going to play for you some of the examples of the sound therapy that would be delivered in your ear. So this one is my favorite, and I'll have you listen to it for a couple of seconds. Scott, are you able to hear that? So you should have heard some ocean noises, a little bit of music tones, and it should have felt almost like you were sitting in a spa or a very relaxing type of room. So there are different sound therapy tools that your hearing care professional can actually program into your hearing instrument. These are obviously specific to Widex and something that's new to add into your hearing devices depending upon the model and what type of style you have of hearing instruments. Next, I want to talk about a cool little assistive device called the Widex Sound Assist. It is designed to help with better hearing in noise and also for distance type of communication. Widex has a lot of different assistive listening devices available. Again, what is best for you is determined by you and your hearing healthcare provider. But what I wanted to focus on is what's in this yellow box today, which is a brand new listening device called the Widex Sound Assist. The Widex Sound Assist works with Widex technology. And what it does is it can be a partner or companion microphone. It can be a table microphone. It can also do hands-free Bluetooth streaming from a computer or other Bluetooth device. It can also connect to a T-coil or loop environment and also be a remote control. So the assistance that it can provide for you is a lot of options. Not saying that you have to use all the options, but all of that is packed into a little tiny device that's smaller than a pack of gum. So if you own a rechargeable Widex device, specifically the Widex Moment product in either a rechargeable or non-rechargeable receiver in the ear, or a BTE, a behind the ear product that's rechargeable or not, those styles and that family of product, it works and can be added to the hearing program that you have. So if you are using it as a table mic, this is an example of it being in the middle of a table. If you're going to go out to dinner with a couple of friends and you would like to get a boost of hearing those friends in a noisy restaurant. Again, there's other uses for it, but the primary use that many people are needing is a partner mic. So it's you and your spouse, or you and your friend, or you're at church and you want to hear the pastor speaking a little bit better. The partner mic option, a lot of times, is sort of the first entrance into using that technology. And then usually the second use is the table mic. Just a little schematic of how it would work with maybe your spouse or your friend is your friend or your spouse would wear it. You are wearing the Widex devices, and you can go up to 26 feet away, and you hear them just like they're in your ears. So it helps with overcoming distance, not too far. We're not talking a football field, but we're talking maybe, from the kitchen to the living room, if you have a house that's within that range. Scott, any stories you'd like to share with some of the people that you've helped fit for a partner mic type of setup?
Yeah, I mean, this is certainly the most common issue when I think about my time in clinic. When a patient would come in, typically the complaint wouldn't be that I can't hear when it's quiet. The complaint was always, I can't hear when it's noisy, a restaurant or a family gathering. And with the remote mic, partner mic function of the Sound Assist, it has been tremendous at making those type of hard to hear situations significantly better. Matter of fact, I was part of a fitting wherein a patient it was a follow-up, and they had tried it at a wedding reception for their grandson, and the individual used it to hear at their table at the reception and said they hadn't heard that good in years. So it's a brand new thing, but so far the results have been tremendous and really, really successful for those hard to hear situations.
Yeah. So, those are the two most common uses of this technology. A table mic situation for a wedding. I think oftentimes, we forget how difficult that type of communication can be. And I think sometimes people just sort of give up and say, well, I can't hear, I'm not going to participate. I'm just going to sit there and kind of watch as the evening or the day goes by, and you no longer have to be in that situation. The remote mic option, which is the new Sound Assist, is available with Widex, but also I'm sure those of you tuning in maybe were other brands of hearing aids, and for you to understand that a remote microphone should be available from all the different brands of instruments. Obviously, with Widex, we kind of have a two-in-one where it's not only a partner mic, but also a table mic. So asking your hearing care provider, what type of support can I get for, large dining groups or, a one-to-one type of conversation when people walk away from me. That's a really great opportunity to ask about a remote microphone technology. For Widex, it's called the new Widex Sound Assist. The product is rechargeable. So in as little as 3 hours, the product will get a full charge, and it'll give you 10 hours of consistent use. It'll only pair to one set of Widex hearing aids. And then the cool thing is, if you have a laptop and an iPhone and a Kindle or other Bluetooth things, then that little Sound Assist can link to other technologies that you have at home to help stream and put that sound right into your ears. So again, it just breaks down some of that accessibility that people who have normal hearing have access to, allows people who are wearing hearing instruments to now be able to be engaged in that kind of technology. So again, because I don't have a little one here to show you, I thought I would show you a schematic of, there's 3 microphones in the unit. There's a button that you would press to move the zoom of the voice pickup, if you will. There's a power button, as well as being able to adjust the volume or your hearing aid programs if you decide you'd like to do that. And then there's a clip function on the back, and some feet there to make sure that device is stable if you're putting it on a table at your local coffee shop or restaurant. And so last but not least, as we finish here, Tony, I wanted to see if, how useful today's information was in terms of sharing some new findings for tinnitus and stress, and then also listening accessories like the new sound assist. So if people are so kind to share with me how useful the information was today, that would help me modify future talks. So 1, not useful. 10, very useful. How useful was today's information? Feel free to share that in the chat. My feelings won't get hurt. I love constructive comments. So how useful was it? Please share that there in the chat. So we've got, awesome. We got some 7s, some 9s. And then we'll tackle the questions there at the end. So I just wanted to, in closing, thank Anne Mundell Noel. She is the owner and audiologist there at Amazing Hearing in your local community. She's such a great resource, and I appreciate her connecting me with Tony and your chapter. Again, all of those of you who volunteer for your chapter and belong to your chapter, the more there is that hearing health outreach and community, the more you all support each other. So I appreciate all of you. And with that, Tony, we can end the formal part of the presentation and take some questions. And so, Tony, I think you're still on mute.
If you want to see, use the raise hand feature to ask your questions. And while you guys are thinking of your questions, I have a couple for you.
Okay.
So regarding the sound assist, you sort of answered my question. I was thinking, is there a lanyard? Could that go on a lanyard? Okay, I guess you can use the clip.
Yep, you can use a clip, but sometimes certain outfits, it's hard to clip. So we've made a lanyard that can go over the neck, and it's on a magnetic lanyard. So the lanyard is purely just to make sure that it doesn't fall off your clothing. Or because it's so itty bitty, it's really easy to leave it behind on a table. So we provided some sort of cord, kind of a bigger footprint, to allow for it to be just a bigger visual for people to remember to take with if they're bringing it to, a wedding or a restaurant.
Okay, so thinking of the sound assist on the table in a restaurant, can you throw a napkin over it to protect it? If you were to put it in a baggie, would that deafen the sound? Or
it would deafen the sound. You definitely don't want to cover the microphones, otherwise it's going to be like that. It's going to be muffled. So you don't want to cover it, but it's very robust. It's very durable. You obviously don't want to spill any water, so I would put all the drinks away from it.
So you might be able to clip that like on an empty glass.
So it is designed. It has a weighting system, so it knows when it's flat on a table. Then it activates all the microphones, and whoever is talking, the microphones automatically steer. So you're going to want to keep it flat. unless maybe you're at a long table and maybe there's 2 or 3 people at the very end of that table you would like to hear, then you would place the sound assist closer to those people at the farthest part of the table.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So we have Marianne.
Yes. Someone spoke and said over time, that problem that they had with their hearing went away. So does the device help the tinnitus go away?
So it's very uncommon that a tinnitus sound therapy will make tinnitus go away, in my experience. And maybe we can kind of ask Ann Mundell. Ann, any experience? You've seen thousands of patients throughout your career with tinnitus. I don't know if you can count on one hand how many of that it went away with treatment. Most it is reducing in severity, so it's not bothersome anymore, similar to Tony's situation. But Ann, any thoughts there?
Well, I actually have to say, I don't want to say disagree, but I've had many patients who I have fit with the Widex hearing aids in the last year and a half, with the moment that they put the hearing aids on and immediately the tinnitus goes away. They took them off, the tinnitus came back. They put them on, and that's just with the regular hearing aid. And then we have the fractile tones or the sounds in the background if you wanted them. But I've had many. I mean, people are astounded, but usually 85% of the people that I put hearing aids on, within 3 to 5 months, the tinnitus is gone, because the brain is reorganizing the sound, and the way that Widex processing in their hearing aids is different than the other 5 major manufacturers. We're just seeing some amazing results for tinnitus. So it has really been helpful.
That is really, really, really awesome. Marianne, did that answer your question? Did you have another question for Ann?
Well, Ann had
somebody talked about stress, and I know that when I calm myself down with breathing exercises, or just meditate, that airy sound from tinnitus is not that obvious. So the stress part that you described is very truthful, I think.
Yes. There's much research that continues to be ongoing about, different breathing techniques, different ways to reduce that stress, and then therefore slow down the heart rate a little bit, reduce the blood pressure a little bit, and then therefore all of a sudden, my ringing isn't as bad today or tonight after I took a walk or did some deep breathing, or some of you who meditate or maybe do yoga. Widex has a free Widex tinnitus app in the App Store. It's called Widex Zen app, and you can download that app for free if you have an Apple or an Android phone. It doesn't require you to have our hearing aids, and it has breathing exercises. It has guided imagery. It has some other sound therapy tools in there that you can try, to Marianne's point about deep breathing, and the tinnitus, has gone away. So there's a lot of great resources and tools if you aren't wearing a Widex but want to utilize some of that broader scope of tools and education.
Okay, so thank you, Marianne. Okay, so Ann, you had your hand up. Did you have another comment to make?
Yes, I was going to just comment that I have sold several of the sound assists to patients. We have waited for about a year and a half for this product to come out. 2 things that I just really want to tout is, one is that people who got the Widex rechargeable hearing aids did not have a T-coil in that product. And now with the Sound Assist, because it has a T-coil in it, if you have the rechargeable hearing aids, you can now utilize the T-coil all throughout the Laguna Wood facilities that Tony has worked so hard in getting looped, including the Performing Arts Center, which was just done in November, and several of the churches, you know, in the area. So the T-coil now is available for those people with the rechargeable, but that also the Sound Assist can be used with other Widex products. So that's number one. And the other thing I wanted to say is that I am more about using the Sound Assist as a table mic in a conference room or in a living or dining room, not at a restaurant. It's really made for that one person speaking at a time where there's not a lot of extraneous noise. So I kind of wanted to just comment and piggyback on what Jodi said, because it would pick up all the sound that's happening at the table. So we've had patients who found that if they just used it as a one-on-one, they did much better. But it has been a game changer for several patients who said they used to just be the lump on the log, or the bump on the log, sorry, and never participated, and now they really can. So people with severe, profound losses, just like the majority of people in this group. So just encouraging you, if it's even not the Widex, but some of the other manufacturers, that personal microphone does work.
Rhonda Hatch, you have a question?
Yes, I had to unmute myself. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, you can all hear me. Okay, that's a good thing, right? I had a couple questions. One, I have it in the chat about the neuromodulation or something is a new, I just read about it. March 8th, it got, the FDA is looking at it. What can you tell us about that? Okay. That's one question.
So maybe we'll tackle that first, Rhonda. That is a new product emerging to run clinical trials, I believe, here in the United States. If I am understanding the product that you just saw online, it is from Ireland, and they are looking to do sort of a dual stimulation of your mouth and your ears. So it is, I don't believe it's available commercially yet. They are looking to start their clinical trials here in the US, which I think is why the press announcement was made. So hopefully time will tell to see how that product performs in their clinical trials and is an option maybe down the road for people who have tinnitus.
There you are, Rhonda.
Okay. Yeah, here I are. Two other things. I've had tinnitus for years and years, okay? But it escalated just boom, overnight. I mean, I was on the phone with my friend and all of a sudden I thought somebody was running a motor in our backyard. It's like, what the hell? So it was the tinnitus. It just went up like that, okay? Now, a couple people have said that when they had their COVID vaccine, that it kind of made it happen. Is that a possibility? Are you hearing that? I mean, I'd still be vaccinated, but I'm just curious if that had anything to do with it.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked about that. You know, I went to Texas Academy of Audiology a couple months ago, had a number of presentations around the uptake of tinnitus reports, not only in the US, but globally. And there is peer-reviewed studies documenting tinnitus after vaccinations. And then there's also peer-reviewed studies showing tinnitus after getting COVID as well. So I think it's not necessarily just anecdotal, but in the medical literature, you actually see tinnitus reported after vaccinations for some individuals, and then also post-COVID. There was also quite a number of presentations about brain fog and patients who have quote unquote long hauler COVID. And I don't know if you see some of those patients, but in audiology, sometimes we have seen patients post-COVID who say, well, now I do have tinnitus, and now, you know, I have some hearing and noise challenges, but their audiogram, their hearing test is normal. And so there's what we call subclinical hearing loss or hearing loss post-COVID that has also been reported as well in the literature.
Yeah, the other thing I would add to that, Jodi, which is a good reason to have that quick SIN test done, which is something we do standardly, but that is taking your brain to a higher level of functioning. And we look at that score to see if there's been a shift or a change, because the audiogram sometimes is not sensitive enough to pick that up, but the quick SIN score will pick it up sooner. But the bottom line is, it doesn't matter what the cause is, we're still dealing with the issue.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you, Anne.
I think that was it. Thank you.
Okay, we have time for more questions. Does anybody else? Let me see if I can just do something here. Okay. I want to go into, I'm going to remove the spotlights, and can we see everybody? Everybody can see everybody else. Let's see here. Okay. So, yeah. I like to see everybody. I don't know if everybody can see gallery view. We have, Jeffrey. Jeffrey, you have a question. Would you go right ahead?
I just have a question with the sound assist. Can you connect that to another, like a wireless Bluetooth device? For example, I was traveling on the plane, and with my previous hearing aid, before I got the Moment, I used to have another device where I could put the headphone jack into the device to stream to the hearing aid. Can you potentially take the sound assist and connect that to a wireless Bluetooth device that will be plugged in? Would that work?
Yeah, as long as the device that you are trying to link up to is running the newer Bluetooth LE protocol, low energy protocol, it should be compatible. So it just depends. Like for the airplane, I don't know if any of their entertainment is Bluetooth ready yet. I've seen some travelers have like an adapter that they plug into the jack that's Bluetooth, and then from there they're linking to another thing. We haven't tried it, but I would definitely give that a try if you do travel quite a bit on the airplane. The sound assist can hold up to 8 different Bluetooth pairings. So anything that a headset would have been able to link to, the sound assist should be able to link to. And the nice thing is, if you are on a long trip and you're running out of battery life because it's a long trip, you can plug in the sound assist to a external battery pack, or it'll work while it's charging, which is really nice as well.
When you're talking, you said like LA Bluetooth version, is that like a 6 point something, or do you know the number that you'd be looking for?
Yeah, there is a number that we would be looking for. I don't know of that number off the top of my head, but I'll go ahead and find that number out and share that with Tony. If she has a distribution email list or something, I can make sure to share that with her, so you can look up that spec to see if that device has the level of Bluetooth for compatibility.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We have another question. Comes from the chat, and is, what is the name of the free application that you mentioned earlier? Oh, you have to unmute yourself.
Jodi, you're muted.
Story of my life. It is called the Widex Zen app. Widex Zen app.
Like Zen, like peaceful Zen.
Yeah. So I can, oops, let me put it in here. I'll put it in the chat. So everybody, it's called the Widex Zen app. So I put that in the chat, Widex Zen app, and it is in the Google Play or Apple App Store.
Great. Great.
So even if you don't have a Widex hearing aid, you can use that app and stream some of our sounds into your hearing aid if your hearing aid has a Bluetooth antenna in it.
Okay, you have another comment you want to make?
Yes, Jodi, I just wanted to ask for Jeffrey's question. Could he take a loop, a T-coil loop that they can get free, and plug this into the headphone of the airplane, and then connect the sound assist by Bluetooth to this?
So the thing in your left hand, is that Bluetooth, Anne?
No, it's a plug, but it don't. I'm sorry, I just grabbed what I had. I can see Tony's holding the one around her neck. Are you, Tony? Oh, no, you don't.
No.
Okay. No. So I wasn't sure whether or not the Quattro would have the T-coil and Bluetooth and then be able to pair to this. And he would be able to wear a Quattro with this, and that would pair. I'm not sure.
But you're talking about in an airplane?
I don't know if the airplanes have Bluetooth. That's what we were talking about.
Yeah, most of the airplanes do not right now. Scott?
So there is, and you can find this on Amazon or at your Best Buy, but there is, if the headphone jack, they have little adapters where it has a Bluetooth that, yeah, exactly. And they have ones that are tiny without long wires that you just plug in, and the device itself has Bluetooth. So in theory, yes, you could connect the sound assist via Bluetooth to that adapter. I have a link from Amazon of one that if somebody wanted to do, they certainly could. I've paired the sound assist to about every Bluetooth device known to man, just for sake of research and curiosity. And without having tested this, I would say with reasonable confidence that you would be able to do that. So I'll put it in the chat, what I found on Amazon, but it's just a little adapter that plugs into the headphone jack that has Bluetooth.
Okay. I'm playing with all these spotlights. Okay, I wanted to mention that the device that Anne was holding doesn't have any Bluetooth capabilities. It does work with telecoil. It's equivalent. It's a powered neck loop. You could plug that directly into any hearing headset device that has that receptacle, and you can adjust the volume and turn on your telecoil. Now, that device is available at no charge from California Phones. So that doesn't exactly apply.
But it does, because the sound assist has a T-coil in it. So if you put the sound assist in T-coil and not in Bluetooth, then something like this could work. That's what I was trying to say. So we're thinking just Bluetooth, but the sound assist actually has a T-coil in it as well. And if you moved it over to the T-coil mode, you could use the plugged in version on a plane.
Okay.
That's what I was trying to get across.
There, Anne, but you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Yes. So, and by the way, I want to say, Anne Mundell Noel, it has been an audiology advisor for the Hearing Well.
Uh-oh, we lost Tony.
I didn't do that.
She got frozen.
She was about to tell.
Was everybody else there? Was I the only one that was gone?
Yeah, just for a second.
Wow, I wasn't touching anything. I'm so glad I came back. Oh, my goodness. Anyway, what I wanted to say is that for over 10 years now, Anne has been the audiology advisor, first with the Hearing Well Club, and then we merged with the HLAA Mission Viejo Chapter, and there's more news on that to come. But and she has amazing hearing, so she's sort of like a sponsor. So I do suggest people visit her. I know that she follows all the best practices for audiology, and not every hearing aid dispenser does. So if you see Anne, you get the full treatment. Okay, so let's see, we have Marianne.
Yes, thank you. I didn't quite understand what the SIN test is. Is something about quick sound, nose, or noise? Can somebody please tell me more about what it does in 5 minutes? I mean, it's a 5-minute test. I remember hearing that.
Mm-hmm. And do you want to talk a little bit about, how it runs in real life at your office for the quick SIN, or the speech and noise test?
Sure. So Jodi just said the name of the test is Quick, SIN, and SIN stands for sentences and noise. And it is a test that we give as part of our audiology testing protocol. And basically you will hear sentences in noise, and each sentence, the background noise gets louder and louder and louder. So we're changing the signal to noise ratio. We're changing how loud the speech is compared to the background noise. And each sentence, it gets closer and closer and closer. So we can measure in real time how your brain is filtering the background noise. And for me, that is how I can counsel you to have realistic expectations of how well your hearing aid is going to work for you by itself, or whether or not you need some kind of an assistive device in order to really function well in background noise. So for us, it's a standard part of our test battery. But I would not fit a hearing aid without doing that test.
Thank you. I got it. I think I had that test. And thank you very much for explaining it so well.
Okay, well, we are going to have to close at this time. Both our guest speaker and our captioner have limitations. We can't be here forever. So I want to say goodbye. Thank you, Jodi. Thank you, Dr. Jodi. Thank you so very, very much. And Scott, you've been very helpful too. Thank you for backing her up. Well, you guys work together. You're like partners. So I think that's really great. Thank you. Thank you both very much. And Anne, thank you for bringing your expertise. You come to pretty much every meeting that we have, and you're there to support the members of the Hearing Well Club and HLAA Mission Viejo. So thank you very much. And so I'll say goodbye to you guys and to my members just for a moment. I will just tell you about our next meeting, which is in April. It's the second Tuesday of the month, which is going to be the 11th. Caption Call is going to be there showing you a brand new captioning a captioning program, and there we go. A captioning program on your smartphone that will show the conversation that your caller, and it'll also show you, and you can save it. And so you have both conversations on a transcript that can be saved. So there you go. Come next April, I'll send out notices to everybody. And we have some big news coming up. I'll be sending notices out. We are exploring and very likely to resume some in-person meetings, but it might be in addition to the Zoom. We don't want to lose anybody. I'm going to try to do a hybrid, which is Zoom and in person. So if anybody is technical minded and can help me walk through all of this, that would be great. Volunteer and help me figure it all out. Okay, so have a great rest of the week, and I hope to see you back here in April. So thank you. Bye.